Happy Wealth Wednesday. Jenna, I'm so excited to talk to you here on this interview and share all of your story and the amazing things that you've been building in your career and now with Hands Down. So I'd love if you kick us off with just a little bit of like where you're based and a bit of your background. I would love if you could share a little bit about career and how it brought you to this place now of really revolutionizing how people shop.
So my great grandmother, her name was WHOSAY. She was an entrepreneur and she founded our family business in 1947. I saw this incredible older woman powering through and just owning it. And she started this business as a solopreneur, marching down the streets of New York City, demanding that people work with her, and did an amazing job and built a huge business that was handed down throughout my family. And every one of us, all of her great grandchildren, we all worked for the family business at one point. And so we all really got to experience up close and personal what business looks like, the good, the bad, and the ugly, from like the fun and celebrating the wins all the way to, stocking shelves in the warehouse, which most of us did as our summer jobs. So I would say just entrepreneurship runs in my blood. It's something that I was just born with, and that even my grandparents identified in me. And so that's kind of where it all started. Is after college, I, did my time, marched down to 38th Street, where my brothers and sister had spent their time as well after college. And I worked for the family business. I learned so much. I like to say I got my MBA in a couple of years. I actually launched an e-commerce brand for the family business while I was there, which helped us to secure some major growth for the company. Anyway, when I decided to move on from the family business, I got a job at Teen Vogue, and I worked there for about 5 years. And that was an incredible experience because at the time, Teen Vogue really dominated the world of this young millennial woman and was just this highly influential media figure. It wasn't about Anna Wintour. It was about the brand, the Teen Vogue brand, and what that meant. And it was really accessible and really authentic and really cool. And I was just captivated by the brand itself and what we were able to do. And I was also captivated by the connection that our audience and super fans had who followed us. And so started working with some influencer talent during my days there, but wanted to get some more purely digital experience. So I actually moved on to a site called Daily Candy. It was the holy grail and the absolute best, and I miss it so much. But Daily Candy was this amazing women's lifestyle brand that just told you what was cool right now. And it had this kind of indie vibe that really celebrated new and emerging designers and brands. At the time, Daily Candy was kind of fading a little bit and Refinery 29 came out. So I was on a team that was filled with these brilliant women, and it was really all about revitalizing the brand. And we did. But I kind of felt like they weren't totally in it. And so when my publisher from Teen Vogue called me about a startup that she wanted me to meet with, I took the call and the meeting. And that's the short story of how I ended up at WHOSAY. So the bulk of my professional experience lies in building a startup and being the only female executive at that company once it got really successful, and then it was acquired. So WHOSAY was essentially, it started as an application for celebrities to tell their brand story on social media and to chat with their fans. And it's just a way for them to kind of be themselves online and navigate the new worlds of social platforms. So this was before you could even share video on Instagram. This was just Twitter. Maybe they were joining Facebook, MySpace, very early days of social. And Hollywood agents were really nervous because Reese Witherspoon and Chris Rock and Steven Tyler were creating Twitter accounts and publishing photos of themselves at home. And that was an extremely foreign concept at the time. So our company helped these talent and their teams to feel comfortable and to navigate the evolution of this space. And the company evolved over time into just working with talent on social to really partnering talent and celebrities with brands to create really awesome content and share it on social. This was the very, very early days of influencer marketing. So before it was properly productized, we started testing and learning around matching a talent and brand combo, telling a really cool story, promoting that through media on platforms. And, we made every mistake, and we had every win. And over a 10-year period, we really helped to pioneer what influencer marketing looks like today. And we also take responsibility for the chaos that it has become.
And it really bleeds in perfectly into kind of this next frontier, which I'm really excited to dive into with you on HandsDown. And so I will ask that in like 1 minute. And I wanted to kind of kick us off with one of the questions we ask everyone when they join this interview process is, what was your first ever investment? Do you remember what got you started, what your first ever investment was?
100%. I'll never forget it because it's my biggest opportunity to tell my husband, I told you so. When my grandfather died, he was really into real estate as a result of our family business. And when he passed away, we all got a small distribution of income. And with that, I decided to go into the Airbnb business. I had no idea what I was doing, but I found this tiny little cottage in the north side of Southampton. And I knew that people paid a fortune to rent out houses in the Hamptons. I knew it because I tried to rent a house for my husband's 30th birthday and we couldn't afford one to rent. And I said, man, people are paying crazy prices. So when I got a Zillow alert that this cottage was for sale and it was at a really reasonable price, because it was in kind of a random location, I was like, we got to go take a look. And we did. And impulsively, we bought it. We furnished it through Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, got really creative at Home Goods, threw it up on Airbnb. And I won't lie, we never paid a penny for that home. And we sold it during COVID. So it was so much work. It was such a pain, but it also allowed for us to earn enough to then invest in another Airbnb that actually ended up becoming our home here in Vermont today. So it's like the absolute best investment and decision we've ever made.
I'd love if you could share more about how and why you got into that space and a little bit more about what HandsDown is all about.
Yeah, I'm very inspired by these like real life experiences. And I'm a total creative mind that's always at work. So I'll come up with a business idea 1 second and like a cool way to like renovate my shower the second. So the ideas are ever turning and sometimes they're highly impactful and sometimes they really just impact a 15-minute workout. My best friend is the VP of product at Etsy. And I, at the time, was running shopper marketing at ViacomCBS, which is now called Paramount. And shopper marketing is essentially where brands allocate specific budgets to drive towards retailers. So, Burt's Bees has a very specific budget just for driving people into a Walmart store in this region to buy this product. And that's done through content marketing. And so that's the department that I was starting and running. We were on this group text with our friends and Oprah's Favorite Things came out and we all wanted to take a look at Oprah's Favorite Things, and we love Oprah, and see if there was anything on there for us. We weren't super inspired by it, but we liked connecting with each other in our group chat that day. So we said, you know what, why don't we share our favorite things with each other? And we embarked on this activity that ultimately inspired my best friend, Sonia, and I to start thinking about how friends shop together and how there's really no successful way for friends to share their favorite things with each other and shop those recommendations. There's plenty of ways for influencers and creators to do that, but a lot of those recommendations are sponsored, which is okay, but it's just hard to know what's purely authentic. So Sonia and I got right to work in figuring out how we could solve this problem because we as consumers and business leaders were experiencing it in real time. And so we started mapping out HandsDown, maybe in 2019. It was literally on the back of a napkin kind of situation. And we couldn't stop. We had live Google Docs going for maybe 2 years where all we did was just jam all the time and any free time that we had. Until we had a real plausible product roadmap where we called upon one of our friends who's an engineer and we got to work and started building it.
And I would love to have you share a little bit more too about like the role you play in the wealth space and why it's important. And wealth can mean a lot of different things, including community and connection and even, saving time.
It is so important to have women in impactful positions generating wealth for other women. It is so incredibly important, especially at a time like right now where women's rights are being stripped from them. We need the people who are making decisions to be women as much as at least 50% of the time. It's going to be really challenging for our daughters and our nieces and our granddaughters to become the female founders that they now in this world should have the opportunity to be, if there aren't more women deploying capital to those types of founders. So, we've had experiences where we meet with a VC and they say, oh my gosh, HandsDown sounds like an amazing shopping platform. I'm going to give it to my daughter and she'll decide, if this is something that we should move forward. Well, their daughter is 16. And if that's the person that's making the final decision about whether or not you'll be investing in us, then I don't think this is the best partnership. And so we need more women in venture capital. We need more women representing women deploying capital. And we need more female founders, and it's going to be a flywheel, right? We just have to get everybody involved, and it's up to us as women business leaders to be empowering and lifting up other women, offer up that mentorship and whatever access and help you can. I think that we all just need to support each other in any possible way, and that's the only way that we're going to get to equality, and not just for women, but for people of color and for other underrepresented types of founders of businesses.
And what do you think has been the most exciting thing that you've learned as you've worked on mobilizing sort of this micro economy within HandsDown, and even just within the industry itself? What would you want others to know?
Nothing is ever going to be as easy as you think it will be. Nothing ever. But that's okay. And that every single thing that happens needs to be seen as a learning opportunity, because starting a business is really hard. There's so much distraction. There's so much content. There's just so much news. There's so much happening that to break through it all is just extremely challenging. So what I've really learned is to be kind to myself, and is to allow for myself to feel all of the things and the feelings that come with it. It's such an emotional roller coaster, especially in tech right now. It's just highly, highly competitive. The world is seriously evolving. It's really hard to be in business at all, whether you're, a coordinator at a media company or you're a startup CEO. No matter where you are in your career, if you are considering becoming a mother or having kids, it's so challenging, and you have to understand the importance of doing what you're doing is setting such an incredible example for the children in your life. And I think, making that space and having that kindness for yourself can just kind of feed into that. And surrounding yourself with the right people and making the right first hires, or bringing in the right first advisors, or even, consultants or freelancers, people who just totally get it and respect you for who you are and believe in you and your lifestyle and balance. I wrote an article called Lessons I Learned from Raising Venture Capital and Potty Training a Toddler all at the same time. First of all, you have 30 VCs turn you away and say no. Well, that's just not as bad as wiping out of everything all the time. It's just everything gets put in perspective when you're potty training. And there's this process that I learned about when I was pregnant called mother essence. Everything hormonally changes in your chemistry of your body, and you change as an individual, both chemically, mentally, emotionally. Everything about you changes in, a heartbeat. And I'm convinced that the same thing happens when you become a CEO. There are certain things that happen in your life that totally transform you. And, I think seeing some very random forms of those things side by side was really eye-opening for me. And you never know what someone is going through. You could be working with a woman and not see the bottom half of her body and know that she's about to pop. You have no idea what's happening on the other side of the screen. There's challenges everywhere in business and in life, and you need to be able to laugh at them and not take it too seriously, even though everything is on the line. Because if you're not going to have fun with it, it's just not worth it. It's just too hard.
Such an inspiration. Speaking of inspiration, is there a person or a company that's really inspiring you right now?
Yeah, I love DM right now. I love what Emma Bates is doing with DM, which is a mobile app community for women and transgender people or LGBTQ people, I believe. And there are just these really raw topics that people can talk about anonymously or openly, which is really amazing. The company that I and the person that I follow the closest, and that I'm obsessed with right now, though, is Jay Shetty. He is a writer who wrote a book called Think Like a Monk, which completely changed my life. It was super transformative. He was a monk for 3 years after he went to school in England. He actually became a monk, and then the monks noticed that he was so good at educating people about why and how monk life works, that they said, if anyone was going to bring this to the masses, you could. And the monks essentially sent him out to live this life as, this educator. Who he has a podcast, and his book is amazing. And every morning I do a meditation with him in the Calm app. He's their like chief Calm officer now, but I highly recommend it because it's a fun read and it's very actionable. Like, I really appreciate when something provides, really actionable tips of how to transform and be better for yourself, not for other people.
Can we stay in touch with you personally on your journey as a founder, and then also with HandsDown? I'd love to share and follow along.
HandsDown is a shopping platform. It's built for communities and friends. So it's a place where you can share your absolute favorite things in your life, highly curated. We help you to curate them and to discover the favorite things of the people in your life that you know, trust, and love. And it's definitely more fun with friends. So I highly encourage everyone to come and join us at itshandsdown.com. Our beta is a web-based app. We'll be launching in native next year. So come on, join us at itshandsdown.com and share your favorite things. And then you could follow along with me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Mother of Stone. My son's name is Stone. So all of my handles are Mother of Stone. And I love making silly TikTok videos and sharing pictures of the carrots in my garden on Instagram. So you can see that Vermont life.
I love it. And also the founder story. I think you've been sharing some really cool things, which I think give a inside the life of a founder and a mother. So you're such an inspiration. I'm so glad to have had you on this interview and looking forward to following along on your journey.
Thank you for having me and for being a beautiful, wonderful human.
Thanks, Jenna.